There we are. And we are live. Hello everybody. Sorry about that little delay, just had to get the wee man sorted. How is everybody doing? So today we are going to be continuing where we left off yesterday and painting our Royal Decapitator. But he is also a playable character in the new Warhammer Quest Darkwater, and he goes under a different name there, which is Porvyle the Bold, which you can see in the title of today's stream. So that's the other name that he's actually known as. And then once we are done with that, we will then move on to painting this fellow, who is one of the figures, one of the goons in Warhammer Darkwater, Warhammer Quest Darkwater. So we'll be starting him once we've finished this guy today. So far we have done our base, we've done our shading, we've done our dry brushing, so today is about adding some finer detail, finishing off the base and doing some highlights. And once we have finished with that, we'll then move on to the other character. Let me just quickly grab my water, and then we can start. There we go. I just had everything except for my water. Now I have that, we can start. Right, so what colour do I want to use as my highlights? I think for the skin, because I don't want to go white, because it will be a bit too much. I'll go in with some Ulthen Grey. So we'll start with the skin highlights and then we'll go from there. I hope everybody's having a good evening so far. Decided to take the little man out for a casual little stroll today. So he's been out the house for about 3 hours getting some fresh air, and it has been very fresh because it's still very cold here in the UK. And also because of the time of year, it was also pitch black by the time we got back. Which is a tiny bit depressing. Joys of winter in the UK. Well, most places, but it's dark by 4 PM. Grab the brush I want. My brush just trying to hide from me. Give me 1 second. There it is. Just looking for a super fine tipped brush so I could do my highlights and still have complete control. Has anybody been up to anything fun today? Anything exciting? Now it's a weekend. He's got some pretty pokey out ribs here in his rib cage, so I'm just making sure I'm getting a little bit of highlight on those, just to make sure they stand out. Evening, hi Signed, how are you? Even though this guy's quite scrawny, he's got some definition in his muscles, the limited muscles he does have. So I'm making sure I'm highlighting those areas. Good, good, fantastic, glad to hear. Was saying earlier on, took the wee man out for a little walk today and he was very, very good. I like his bony knees and his bony ankles for some reason. Have you been up to much today, Signed? I was apparently very tired because I slept for most of the day. I'm envious of that. Very envious. But obviously, you need to catch up on some sleep, so it's a good thing your body kind of let you do that. That's one of my plans for tomorrow, to be honest. It's like to get a video set up ready for Monday. So it's already pre-made, such, and ready for me. And then whilst the little man sleeps, try and catch up on some sleep myself, because I am really starting to struggle with the lack of sleep at the moment. I need to catch up on some extra sleep. It's always worse. On the nights where I sleep more, the tiredness from like the days before kind of hits me more somehow. So body just sit there going, still not enough. Joseph having a wee one. Where did I put my Gortha Brown? Right in front of me. It's the exact same shape we used for dry brushing yesterday. I'm going to use it as the highlight. I can't imagine how tired you must be, extremely, at this point. And at the moment, my biggest struggle was making a cup of tea and actually being able to drink it whilst it's warm. It's almost impossible. So again, with Gortha Brown, I'm going to use that for the highlight on the cape. I used it for some dry brushing yesterday, but I'm going to use it again just to amplify the highlights. He's worth every second of it, obviously. But my goodness. Mr. Nerd was able to catch up on some extra sleep this morning because I brought the little one downstairs and he took a few extra hours to sleep and then came downstairs and has done all of his recording and his editing ready for when he has to eventually return to work. So he's been busy today, and to make life a little bit easier for him, I took the little one out so that the house would be peaceful and quiet, so he wouldn't have to keep pausing recording for when the baby decided to cry. That's the only thing with Rothmer's schedule. Like when he goes to work, obviously, as you know, he goes away for like weeks at a time. So when he is home, he has to spend a fair bit of time getting all that content ready to go. You have those things that keep your tea warm, like you put a tea light in it and it puts as you put the tea on top of it, it stays warm. Honestly, knowing my luck, I'd knock it over and then probably set something on fire with how tired I am. So, probably safest. At least Rothmer is a hands-on dad. Yeah, exactly. His dad's taken for the 2 hours that I'm streaming so that I can obviously do this. Right now, we're currently trying to work out our schedule for how often I'm going to be able to stream. At least at the beginning. Because obviously as little man gets older and his sleep routine is more established, I'll be able to stream a lot more because I'll be actually able to predict when he's supposed to be asleep and when he's awake. But right now, whilst he's the one setting the schedule, I can't really commit fully to a schedule as to when I'm going to be streaming. But the plan is to do at least one stream a week, if not two. Hey Summit, hey, you're my favourite people. Oh, that's nice. How are you, Summit? Are you okay? It's a weekend, so you're off as well, aren't you? I can no longer hear the wee one crying, so that's a good sign. Hey Gray, how are you? How did your stream go? Been off since Thursday morning, had my feet up since. Lovely. I don't blame you for a second. Has the weather been really awful for you guys too, for you as well? Because like every day this week I've had the plan to go out and do something. Just for like a little walk or something, a little bit of fresh air. You know, just a little bit of something. And every day it's been torrential downpour. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not facing that. I'm not walking in that anywhere. Oh, my Friday stream isn't back to the end of the month. I've been editing, recording stuff mostly. Awesome. How's the Ben? He's okay. He's upstairs right now with Mr. Nerd. He has gone ahead and been asleep for the last 3 hours whilst I was out and about with him. And then as soon as he got home, he's kind of woke up and had a really good cry. So he's just been clinging to me. And now he's been passed off to Mr. Nerd so that he can be on dad duty whilst I stream. Yeah, I've been pretty meh here. I've been laughing quite amusingly at my weather predictor. It's like, you will have light rain showers. And I'm looking outside the front of my house and there's like massive puddles of like flooded water. And certain streets walking down today that are still flooded from the amount of rain we've had in the last week. I'm like, that's light rain, is it? I don't agree with that. I think someone's got the definition of light rain wrong. But then again, it's January, so we can't really expect much else, can we? January in the UK especially. We got, in the time that I was out, I got quite lucky. I managed to avoid the rain whilst I've been out. Weather's been wet here too. It been like as far as cold signed? Like at the moment, because we've had a lot of rain, it's obviously not that cold. It's just very, very wet. Nice. So did you have the Royal Decapitator already, or was it only released around the time it was announced in the White Dwarf article? We actually went into our store on Friday to play some Kill Team, and we picked up the White Dwarf, and this was one of the characters where the Royal Decapitator is like the base of it, but one of the characters, the actual official name, obviously this is just him with a hood, but in the White Dwarf article he's just without a hood, and he is Porvyle the Bold. But it's one of 4 new playable characters. I can go grab it if you bear with me 1 second. I can show you. Signed, it's been cold too. I imagine it's much colder than here. Sorry, chat, I didn't mean to disrupt things. No, you're absolutely fine. I did actually have this next to me, and then I popped it away just before stream. And I thought about it when I was sat down. I was like, probably shouldn't have put that away, because people might want to look at it. Let me just grab it. There we go. Yeah, the Raw Decapitator itself has been out for ages. So you have Raw Throat Gauze, Briar Skin Seam, Porvyle the Bold, which is the character we're painting today, and Vladimir Blackwing. These 3 we don't have yet. One of them I know is only on online, it's like available to buy online. And we got quite lucky that we had the Royal Decapitator already, so we just kind of, this is just in the photo here, it's just without the hood. All 4 new heroes are pre-existing models, yes. So all of these can be found on the store, and obviously in some cases in their actual physical stores. Just one of them is an online exclusive. I just can't remember which one, which is really helpful, I know. I just made celeriac soup, smells divine. I'm sure it does. Rothmer Gamer back to dad duties. He is indeed. Joys of joys for him. Yeah, aren't they collectively pricey for the team? I'm not entirely sure. I didn't look at the prices. I can't even remember how much this guy was. 25 quid each. There we go. Not too bad. Obviously, they're an additional 4 characters that people can play if they want to. But obviously, if you're going to play and you've got the option, then why not include the new playable characters? But obviously, for the price point, it's purely down to people's own ideas if they want to or not. Yeah, I mean, that's about right for characters, I guess, but smart's a wee bit compared to the overall box price. Exactly. Or in addition to the box price as well. Definitely smart's that way. So we did do most of this yesterday. The models are all called Marascroll Herald, Adorant Gore-Warden, Abhorrent Cordinal, Cordinal, and the Decapitator. There we go. Thank you for researching that, Mr. Nerd, and popping it in the chat for people to see. So anybody is interested in finding the actual characters with their old names, not their character names, that is what you're looking for. I caught the tail end of yesterday's stream. Sorry I was lurking. No worries, Grey, at all. No worries at all. I don't mind it when people lurk. Today is just all about finishing off this character, and then we're going to move on to painting one of the goons from the Darkwater Titan quest. Titan quest? What am I... From Darkwater Warhammer quest. My goodness. My brain is so broken today. Considering that last night was the most sleep I've had this week, I feel more tired today than I do or have this week. The lack of sleep is definitely catching up to me. I'm in a certain stage of delirium. It's going to move on to highlighting the skulls, and for that I'm going to use Flayed One Flesh. Yeah, because our wee man is going through a growth spurt at the moment. When it gets to the evenings in particular, he gets so restless sometimes. I think yesterday, I kind of went upstairs and kind of chilled with him after the stream and kind of relieved Mr. Nerd of his dad duties so he could crack on with some work and also socialise with a couple of friends. And safe to say the little man more or less cried till about 1 in the morning, just more or less non-stop crying, which is both impressive and horrible. Because I'm there going, why? Like, how? How are you doing this? The introduction of these new characters is great for Warhammer Quest. It opens the door for adding your own heroes of a sort. Kind of gives you your own hero, or maybe even a champion for you to introduce to the game, which is quite a nice idea. Just a quick one for anyone who is lurking. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Obviously, it really, really does help us in regards to our algorithm. We are hoping to get to 1k subs by the end of 2026, and we want to please the algorithm gods. So if we can, obviously like this video, like this stream, and obviously subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. In one night, we've gone from 573 subs to 580, which is wild. So really, really happy to see that we're growing. So thank you so much, everybody who subscribed to the channel. I'm not going to tell you what to do, missus, but you need a rest. A lack of sleep is no joke. I do wish to be the bearer of bad news. I don't wish to be the bearer of bad news, but in my experience, the sprog gets into a routine, then 2 or 3 months later, due to the growth spurt of random reason, they decide to change. A change is needed. That's exactly it. Like, I know when it comes to about 3 months, he'll kind of be in a slight bit of routine and kind of know the difference between like day hours and night hours, and then of course you've got sleep regression due to growth spurts and all that stuff. So, but it'll be a little bit easier when we can semi-predict certain hours, because then at least I can sleep a little bit and know I'm guaranteed to get a certain amount of sleep. But we will roll with the punches. In some cases, literally, because that little man sometimes just decides to hit me in the face or headbutt me in the face sometimes. Because like I said, he's been lifting his own head since day one, but he still doesn't have complete control of it. So it's quite amusing. So we'll lift his head and then all of a sudden just like schwack his head forward and headbutt me in the face. And I'm like, cheers for that, buddy. I'm just your mother who loves you dearly, and yet I get a headbutt to the face. Thank you very much. Yeah, the plan for tomorrow, signed, is that you just do my video in the morning, kind of get that organised. Because luckily, we are doing okay as far as, like, certain house jobs have also been neglected due to small child. But other jobs we've done quite well on. So like, all of our washing, our clothes washing is now done. You'll start to learn what their slightly different grumblings indicate. They will learn when food is supposed to be coming. Though you're probably used to that with the cats. Yes, to be honest. We have a cat who decides to pick up his bowl and throw it across the living room, or throw it across the kitchen now. If we don't feed him when he wants to be fed, he just literally just picks it up and lobs it across the kitchen, which is quite amusing and also really annoying at the same time. Because you could literally be getting their food out, and they're like, nope, not quick enough, and he'll just be there and start throwing his weight around. And you're like, come on, bud, it's literally 2 seconds later than what it was. You don't need to be so aggressive. Yeah, I'm hoping tomorrow that whilst he sleeps, because he's just gone through a little growth spurt at the moment, so he's been more or less attached to me constantly for the last week. Like, he has not let me put him down. And because he's been in a pram for 3 hours whilst we've been out and about, he's woke up and he just decided he wants comfort. So he just wanted to be held by me constantly when I got in just before starting the stream. So he went upstairs a little bit upset, but I'm hoping now that I can't hear him, so he's obviously settled enough that hopefully Mr. Nerd can chill a little bit and maybe play some games whilst the little man rests. Fingers crossed. Big one with him, he's just like, it gets really quite dramatic. If his food's so much as like a second late or whatever, honestly, the screaming that comes from him, I'm like, honestly, you're acting like you've never eaten before. Has anybody got any plans for this evening? Aside from watching the stream, of course. Because in addition to highlighting today, we're also going to be adding some gore. So we're going to go in for with some blood, the blood god a little bit later. It gets better till it changes, and then you're stuck re-establishing the new norm. Rinse, repeat. Not really. Making soup and finishing a diamond painting. That sounds nice and chilled though, signed. I like that idea. I'm hoping that as soon as I'm done with stream today, I can just quickly put some dinner in the oven, which is going to be pie tonight. Really easy, so you don't have to actually cook anything. Just bang it straight in the oven and let the oven do the job for me. Because I need to eat, but also need to rest. Yeah, I'm hoping that little man, just genuinely, he is a really, really good baby. He's just got those little, you know, the usual things that babies have, where they can't tell the difference between day and night, especially now, because he's newborn. And he just needs constant cuddles. I tried a Yorkshire pudding during my stay. Good God, that is amazing. Aha, you have been blessed with the Yorkshire pudding. Really, really easy to make too, signed. If you don't already have a recipe, I can always send you one. As tomorrow's video to finish editing, and I'm mid-filming 2 videos, a Dark Age tutorial and a painting challenge. Ooh, but I might play some Sombold. I deserve a break. Yorkshire pudding is top tier. It absolutely is. 100%. Yorkshire pudding is one of my favourite parts of any kind of Christmassy or roast dinner in general. For me, it's the potatoes, the Yorkshire pudding, and the meat. But I'm like a beef fan specifically. Like if you've got a beef roast dinner, I'm sold. I'm happy. And then after that, you've got like a gammon roast dinner, anything pork roast dinner, anything like that. It's always a big fan of that. But if you do want a recipe, Sand, I could always send you one. Because they are very easy to make. When I was living at home, did you have a carvery when you were oversigned with blood? Because obviously you were here for Christmas, so you obviously had your friend making you a lovely Christmas dinner. When I was living at home, I can absolutely send you a recipe, 100%. When I was living at home, I used to make, especially for Christmas dinner specifically, beer battered Yorkshire puddings, and the yeast and stuff that was in the beer, well, in the battered for the Yorkshire puddings just made them rise. They'd go from being, say, like the size of my palm to the size of my hand, and it made it so much bigger. So carvery is it's basically a roast dinner, but you can go to certain locations. For example, we have like a Toby carvery. It's quite a popular one here in the UK. And you kind of go up with a plate and you have like different varieties of meats. You have like chicken, turkey, gammon, beef, pork, etc. You can pick which meat you want and then make your way down the line to pick out all your favourite roast dinner parts. So Yorkshires, your potatoes, your veg. So yeah, it's like a roast dinner buffet that some places do. It's literally exactly what it is. But it's not limited to certain days. Well, certain places it is, but other places it is not. And if you're like me, then I love a roast dinner. It's actually one of my biggest cravings during pregnancy was a roast dinner. So Mr. Nerd took me to get a carvery a few times because I just needed it. Didn't want it, I needed it. So it was quite an interesting craving to have during pregnancy, was just craving a roast dinner. But luckily I love roast dinner regardless of the time, so... And I haven't had any food aversions. People hate on UK food, but I don't think we can beat when it comes to hearty foods. Oh, absolutely not. Like, end of the day, the foods that we have that they hate on are hearty foods made from staples that are really simple. And I think that's the best thing about British food, specifically, because you can literally make something really substantial and hearty and like good for you, like I say, like good for your soul and like good for the body, like really warming. And then, you know, like that's you can't really beat that. Roasting of the sticky toffee pudding after and custard afterwards, absolutely. I'm 100% on board with that, Gray. Just going to go in with some highlighting for the bronze now, and I'm going in with Psychorax bronze for that. Can't beat an STP, a sticky toffee pudding, with custard especially. It has to be with custard, in my opinion. Can't be with cream or with ice cream. has to be with custard. UK food isn't gourmet, but it's filling the stomach and the heart. Yorkshire puddings isn't gourmet, but it's good. God, is it good. Absolutely signed. That's my opinion exactly. Like, there's a couple of places, like Christmas markets around the UK that I noticed a few years back. They started doing like Yorkshire pudding rolls. So instead of like a wrap, it's just like one giant flat Yorkshire pudding, and then they fill it with all the stuff, like all the assortments of a Christmas dinner. So you got your turkey, your cranberry sauce, your stuffing, and then they just kind of wrap it all up and give it to you to eat on the go. My God, is that good? In my opinion, good British street food. But then, of course, in the UK, you've got stuff like Spud Bros and places like that. So if you're a fan of a Decapitator, then, you know, you're sold in that regard. But again, this is the type of street food as such that we have here in the UK. Oh, I didn't realise the mic was muted. I'm very sorry. So sorry. So sorry, guys. I stopped to sneeze and forgot to turn it back on. My problem. So I think Yorkshire pudding is somewhat unique. We use the term pudding to mean dessert or something. It can mean chocolate pudding, which is chocolate mousse. Absolutely. Traditionally, it is a dessert pudding. Yorkshire pudding is definitely a unique term all to itself. So sorry about the audio there, guys. This just stopped to sneeze and my brain is half asleep. So I'm very sorry. So, as I was saying, I'm going to go with some Sterland mud on the base now whilst I wait for some of the highlights to dry. And by then, the rest of the highlights should be dry and I can go on and do some extra coats. Because I kind of want to add some scars and stuff to this guy's skin to make him look a little bit more grim. Been muted for like 3 minutes or so, missed you talking about colours. I'm very sorry. So the only colour that I've used is Sycorax Bronze, and I've used that to highlight the axe. This is what Tired Brain looks like. I'm very sorry, guys. It's okay, missus. Thank you. Sleep deprivation is definitely getting to me, that's for sure. Been there, nothing to apologise for. Thanks, guys. I'm going to be doing just like a thin coat of Sterland mud. I'm not going to go too crazy and do anything too thick with this, just because there's already a fair bit on the ground, and I don't really want to take away from the stuff that's there, but I don't want it to just be like a plain brown surface. I want it to have a little bit of grit. So that's why we're going in with some Sterland mud. Got like a plethora of different scripts that I kind of pre-wrote before Little Man arrived to put out in regards to my other channel, my lore channel. So I think tomorrow's video is going to be, Monday's video, because originally I was doing Mondays and Fridays, but whilst we're still getting into a routine, I've kind of cut it back to just one a week for now, just whilst we get re-established. I think tomorrow I'll put out some Warhammer lore. So now that obviously we have more... You're doing great on the channel though. Numbers took a decent jump recently. They really did. It's one of those things where as soon as since we've been streaming, the numbers have just shot up. Obviously we're really fortunate. We've got a really nice community of people who have been really interactive with us, and people have continued to watch the content whilst we were on like our 2-week hiatus when the wee man came along. So... because obviously there was absolutely no way we're going to be able to put out content like this and stream consistently with a screaming newborn whilst also going through C-section recovery. But now we're in a kind of a more established, not routine as such, but whilst Mr. Nerd is home, it allows me to be able to get on and do this a lot more often. And my plan is to stream 1 to 2 times a week whilst he's away, which will only be like a 2-week period. Normally max will only be 2 weeks, and then I'll go back when Mr. Nerd is home to doing streams every day or every other day, just depending on what's going on. Just to obviously, one, help with the channel and obviously please the algorithm gods, but also so I can actually talk to you guys, because I do love streaming and I do miss it when I'm not streaming, to be honest, because it's definitely a lot more enjoyable. Because when you're obviously making content for YouTube, as much as it's enjoyable to obviously put the pieces together, you just sat there in silence sometimes and you realise, oh, I haven't spoken in like 3 hours. It's quite a strange experience. You're doing great on the channel though. Numbers took a decent jump recently. Yes, you'll hit 1,000 in no time. Thank you guys. But yeah, we think 1k subs by the end of 2026 is definitely an achievable goal. Hopefully we can get it, you know, before Wee Man's birthday, before the 26th of December. That would be ideal. And then once we're at 1k, we'll do like, we can do some kind of thing for it. Whether that be like a little painting competition, because obviously me and Mr. Nerd, we are going to be building, like painting the same character, but we're going to be setting like certain limitations. So it'll be like, who can paint this character the best in a certain time frame. So like, say for example, you have 4 hours to paint this figure, or as much this figure as you can in 4 hours. Let's see who can do that best. Or you can only paint using contrast paints, or something like that. So my guess you'll hit it July-ish. Oh, that would be very nice. If we hit it by July, that would be fantastic. But yeah, it was one of those weird things. By the end of summer, I think that's a good prediction. I'm supporting that one. Whilst that dries, I'm going to go in on, because I'm going to go in with Blood for the Blood God as well, but I'm going to go in with some corn red just to kind of do some blood on the chopping block under his foot. And then when this dries, I'll go in with Blood for the Blood God over the top just to really amplify that blood. And of course, I'm going to add it to the skull, not the skull, the head, the severed head that is in his hand as well. In fact, I might go in with a contrast paint for that. Apparently shorts are the way to go when it comes to gaining audience. We still haven't tried shorts yet. Definitely have been meaning to. So I'll have to have a look at making those. It's on the to-do list of things for 2026. That's for sure. I'm going to go in with some Flesh Tearers Red actually instead. I'm going to dilute it down a little bit. Yeah, because nobody has the attention span for longer. Yeah, TikTok has kind of ruined the minds. TikTok and Instagram and social media in general. As much as it's a useful tool for obviously stuff like this, it has ruined the attention span of a lot of things, unfortunately. And people just cannot concentrate long enough to just watch content. It's like sometimes I look at the average duration of like videos, and sometimes like the average duration of, especially like my lore stuff, the video might only be 8 or 9 minutes, but sometimes the average duration is only 2 minutes, and I'm like, really? Like, it's not like it's the longest video in the entire world, but at least short form content matches with Insta Reels, TikTok, so you can reuse it. Exactly, that is the benefit. You've got to play the system to actually understand it, and in this case, that would be the benefit of it. So I've just diluted some Flesh Tearers Red with a little bit of water, just to make it a little bit more opaque. And I'm just gonna quite messily drip it down the cutting block, just here. But this will be gone over again with some Blood for the Blood God as well, just to really make it look extra bloody, of course. That is the plan, anyway. So we've got quite a large selection when it comes to our social media now, and all of them are linked in the description down below, or description of today's video and also of today's stream, and also in the description on our channel. Oh, sorry, just kicking stuff again. But we're definitely looking at getting into Instagram and TikTok eventually, because once we've started doing shorts, obviously that'll be the ideal location for both of those when it comes to that kind of content. Another little plug, of course, if we've got anybody else who is lurking in the channel or in the stream who wasn't here earlier. First of all, welcome. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel because we'd love to have you here. And if you also haven't joined the Discord, then please join the Discord channel. We've got a really lovely community growing over there. We've got obviously opportunities for people to share their own content. They can obviously publish their own work, and we can all support each other. And also, if you have any cat or animal pictures, we could also share those there. So it's an opportunity for anybody who is an animal person to also share a lot of their content as well. I'm not social enough for social media. That's the thing. Like, I'm very much a homebody, even more so since having obviously a little one. I have like my small group of people, which is fine with me. Just going to go back in with that Flesh Terrors red and dot it on the severed head as well. Not really being too precious as to where I put it, honestly. There's also some hands here, so I'm just going to apply it to the severed hands that are on the back as well. So that's the severed head, now I've got some blood on it, the chopping block, and also the severed hands that are on his back. Now I'm going to go back into doing some highlights. Now that the first lot have dried, I'm going to go in and top them up. Starting with more of that Sycorax bronze on his blade. I don't know the proper term for them, but I've started making cue cards, reference cards for the tutorial video I've made, like a paint list when with the finished pics as reference. I think that's a really good idea, Gray. We've started doing them, obviously I haven't finished them yet because I'm still doing the bases on our Warhammer quest, but the plan is for us to do essentially like on Citadel Colours, the app, where you can obviously look up the image and then you've got all the different paints kind of listed below. We've already done one video on our channel where it's just the image of the figure and we just talk you through the different stages, so the base painting, the shading, the contrast paints, the highlights. So if anybody is interested in it and not necessarily wanting to watch a full tutorial, because again it's the attention span thing as well, but then they can just watch that and they can just pause it, see where the colours are, and I've got like arrows pointing to where I've used the different colours, so people can see exactly where they want to apply it if they want to follow our tutorials specifically. That's actually a great idea, Greyslayer Minis. For my salamanders, I kept forgetting how I painted them because I don't paint all the time. That's it sometimes, like, that is the benefit of doing YouTube, in the sense that we obviously have a backlog of our content. So I remember for my Armies on Parade board last year, I did a Mines of Moria one where it's the Watcher in the water, specifically. We've got a YouTube video on this on the channel, where it's the Watcher in the water, and we have the Fellowship obviously in Moria trying to escape the Watcher in the water. I have previously painted the Fellowship already, but we had to get a brand new Fellowship specifically for the board because they were going to be stuck to this this board, and the plan is for them to not then come off. So because of that, we had to paint them all brand new, and I was there going, I cannot remember how I painted these at all. So luckily I then had the opportunity to just go back and watch how I used them last time, and I just used my own guide to paint the Fellowship again to make sure they were in a colour scheme that, one, I knew worked, and two, that I actually liked Because having colour schemes and stuff is obviously great, but I started keeping a notebook for the Mies. I paint with a colour swatch of the paint I've used so that I can use them as a paint list in the notes of my video. That's a really good idea. We've done it before, we've had a notebook and we just wrote them down. But my problem is, especially if it's a long day, sometimes I will start doing it and then I'll get about halfway through and then I'll quickly remember, oh dear, I've not been writing down any of the paints for the last 10 minutes. And then I'll quickly have to go through and remember what I've used. I do have a booklet with pictures and lists of paint in general, but not for a specific mini. Well, that's an idea then we can both use. It's just like a little swatch book, essentially. It's also really, really good in general, because if you've got a bunch of paints and you can't remember how they looked, especially stuff like shades and contrasts, you can do a little swatch, because obviously in the pot, they still look quite different to actually how they actually show on the character. I'm going to go back in with some Gortha Brown just to kind of amplify the highlights on the robes a bit more as well. And I might even go in with some Mournfang actually. In fact, no, I think I'll just go in with Mournfang because I think that will do the... that'll give me the colour I'm looking for. And that depends on the primer too, exactly. When you've got lots and lots of different primer options, it can be quite difficult to remember what they look like. I use Grey Seer as the primer for my Emperor's Children, so the colours pop more. Yeah, definitely think that's a good idea. The reason why I've started basing my characters in black is because I'm still kind of struggling at times when, if it's like a really nitpicky area, I'll try and get as much paint as I can in there to obviously fill it out. But sometimes I won't get all the way in and there'll be like a little bit of residual grey sear or something on show. So then I have to go through again and then try and cover that up without covering up the work I've done. So it's easier if I just use black. And then if I do have any areas that I've missed, then they kind of give the impression of it being shadow, if that makes sense. But I tend to go between Grey Seer and Chaos Black, mostly, for primers. It's a really good resource when it comes to colour and such called EVE Archive. I'm shocked more people aren't aware / don't use it. I'm going to have to note that because I have no idea what that is, but I'm definitely going to have a look at it. Add it to my notes page. VY. There we go. I've made a note of that. Thank you for that, Grey. I'll definitely have a look at that after the stream. Ooh, I'm on it now. I think just sometimes like having a residual, like a resource that most people are obviously familiar with, once we're reusing it, it makes it a lot easier to obviously find everything. Sent you a DM with the link. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I'll have a look at it as soon as the stream's over tonight. That'll be my reading whilst I'm having dinner. Yeah, it's really, really good. Awesome. That was a new thing this week as well that the wee man decided to do, because he was basically having to be contact napping the entire time for the last week because he would not settle any other way. If I put him down to eat, he would cry, so I was having to eat with him in a sling attached to me. But then he started getting upset when I would sit down. So I was having to eat my dinner, having to be eating my dinner stood up, which was quite amusing. Just walking around the living room, eating dinner with a newborn attached to me. So that was definitely a skill acquired this week. Oh my god, this website is so useful. I'm definitely going to have a look at it. So thank you for sending me the link. Great, I really appreciate it. I will definitely be having a look at that later. Okay. The base is more or less dry now, and the parts where I actually need to apply the blood for the blood god are dry. So I'm going to go in with the blood for the blood god now. So blood for the blood god, I'm going to go in with that now on the head and on the chopping block. And then what we'll do is we'll call it for this one and we'll start our little goon. I'm shooketh that it's a bit of a hidden gem. But sometimes having the hidden gems is really helpful because then you can obviously keep it hidden, keep it safe. And, keeps it a hidden gem. Grace Minutes, thank you so much. I feel inspired. There we go. Yes, I'm shooketh too. Sam with Blood, you're welcome. That's the thing about this little community. Everyone's helping each other, which I really, really like. It's like we also have like no problem. Like if anybody's like done a tutorial on something, if anyone's asking any questions about it or whatever, to like share it. Like obviously we've got the Discord, people can share it in the Discord. But if they want to share it in the chat as well, we are more than happy for people to do that because this community we've got is really, really good. It's a really nice community where I want to support everybody and I want everybody to support everybody. And being able to be in a position where we all kind of grow together in many ways. So if anybody's ever got any content that if you see anybody asking any questions about, you can always just say, oh, I have a tutorial on this, because like I said, we've only been going for a year. There's lots of tutorials that we don't have yet. So whilst we've got this lovely little community where people do have that content, we are more than happy for people to share it. So I've gone ahead and slapped some blood for the blood god onto the chopping block now and onto the severed head. I'm going to do a little bit again onto the hands on the back. Severed hands. So there we go. So his skin has had some highlights. So I've highlighted down his spine and highlighted across his rib cage here just to really amplify those very bony ribs, and highlighted around like his muscles and his very bony feet. I've then gone around the edges of the loincloth and the head covering, the hood, just to kind of, and I've gone ahead and done some edge highlights with that. Some Syrax bronze on his weapon, and then some pallid witch flesh on the skulls and on any of the stitching that is on his staff. So yeah, throwing it for myself. So we'll put this to one side. We'll have a look at it later when it's fully dry. But for now, we're going to get started on our next figure, which is one of our little goons from the Dark Water set, which, let me just quickly lift him up just a tiny bit because he's quite a large boy in comparison to our others. He's got a full suit of armour on. So you should remember what this guy's called. So bear me 1 second while I look that up. Has anybody yet actually had the opportunity? Bob, that is Bob. Awesome. We can call him Bob for sure. We'll give him the name Bob. Has anybody had the chance to play Warhammer Quest yet? Darkwater, specifically. So these are the Blight Templars. That's what they're called. He's going to be Bob the Blight Templar. That is actually quite a tongue twister. My goodness. So Bob the Blight Templar. That's who this is. There are 3 of these, but we're going to be just doing 1 for now. But since he has got obviously some very gnarly like guts and stuff hanging out, but the majority of his suit is going to be a base of silver and then covered with some plague bearer's flesh. We're going to just dish out the silver and we're going to get on with that first. We had a couple of games with the fam at Xmas. It was a hit. I've now got to paint up Curse City and Blackstone Fortress up for the next family gathering. Well, that sounds very successful then. Because we've built all the figures for Curse City, just have not painted them. So again, they are sitting in we've got like a little window seat with like a built-in chest space. And in there we've got all of our games. So we have got Curse City in there, and those figures need to be sprayed and painted. So again, they are another addition to our list of Grey Shame. And the worst part is we've had that one for a while. It's just been living in there since. There we go, that's the size brush I want. Mine are assembled and primed. That is as far as I've got, with the exception of how to paint bat wings. Batwing short I did. This thing, you use them for their intended purpose, then you go from there. It's a bit like that with my Plague Marines, because me and Mr. Nerd went into our store on Friday and we started learning how to play Kill Team. And I painted 2 of the 7 figures for the Plague Marines. Because I did one with like a Grimdark tutorial and one with just like a basic base tutorial. And I hadn't done the rest yet. So on Friday when I didn't stream, or Thursday night when I didn't stream, is literally because I was sat painting the remaining 5 figures. And they're still not 100% done. The bases still need to be finished. This is just Lead Belcher. The Blackstone Fortress one is actually about halfway done. At least that's halfway done, so it's not 2 complete boxes that you need to do from scratch. So that makes it a little bit easier. The perk of doing this as like just a base before I go in with like a contrast paint over the top is I don't really have to worry too much about any of the steps, just, you know, making sure it's all covered. Making sure it's covered and not streaky, so that when I apply the contrast paint, because let's be honest, the contrast paint will pick up everything, every sin. So I've just got to make sure it's nice and covered. We still need to actually get the Blackstone Fortress one. I don't think we have that one yet. I think we just have Darkwater and Curse City. I don't think we have the others yet. I was originally going to do a couple of the Kelpies today, but then I just thought they're not going to take me very long to do, and it would be a lot of the same. Like, if I paint one, I've then painted them all kind of thing. So I thought, no, we'll do one of the big guys. So I know you said obviously it was quite a big Christmas gathering for you guys. Like, how many were there, Gray? Because it sounds like it was quite like a big family event. Nine of us, I think. That's quite a good chunk of people. Yeah, I do like the idea of like being able to, because we used to do it when I was in uni, where there was like a little cottage we used to go to down in Cornwall. During my uni days, where it was like me and a bunch of the students that we were in uni with, and in this place like there was no Wi-Fi, so it was, you kind of read books, you went on walks, or you played board games, and that was kind of it. And if you wanted internet, you have to get like a 2.5 hour journey bus back to kind of go to like the nearest internet cafe place, or you just went and sat in the pub all day and drank, which was another option. But we were already drinking most evenings, so we didn't want to spend the entire time we were there just drinking during the day as well. But that was like the last time I had an experience where it was like nothing else to do except for kind of read books and play board games. And it's definitely something I'd like to do again. Just obviously not with uni people, with other people. And just kind of log off from online for a night or two. And just go do something like that. So my mum, aunt and granddad live in Skye near Dunvegan, and they have barely any internet. And when all of us were up there, it's basically like that. Yeah, this is the place that I went to specifically is a place called Boscastle, which is about an hour away from Tintagel. So we went to Boscastle specifically. Mum's got herself a new PC and it took her 3 days to re-download World of Warcraft. Oh, bless her. That kind of internet got you. So even your mum's a gamer as well then. Oh yeah, it's rough. And if the weather's bad, it's worse. Oh goodness. And I'm not going to lie, obviously in any place that's kind of in the UK based, yeah, you can almost predict you're going to have some pretty bad weather days. Because as much as Scotland's beautiful, there's also a lot of rain. Obviously Sky's no real exception to that. We went to Tintagel as well a couple of years ago. She's been playing WoW since launch. WoW. Literally WoW. Good for her. I like that a lot. She's a veteran player at this point then. Yeah, we went to Tintagel a couple of years ago now. We went around St. Austell and we decided to take a little trip to Tintagel. So we went around Tintagel Castle, which for those who don't know, Tintagel is believed to be the birthplace of King Arthur. So, as in King Arthur and Merlin. So, yeah, it was just fun to kind of go around and do that. That was enjoyable. So Vegan is on the northwest coast of Skye, so it's very exposed. You do get to see dolphins, seals, and occasionally orcas in the loch, though. It's a trade-off, poor tech for living the dream. To be honest, I think I could live with that. Obviously, not so much right now when we're doing this, but it's definitely a much more peaceful existence, and it sounds beautiful. Then again, Scotland's one of the most beautiful places in the world. So, in my opinion. Yeah, I think I could live with poor technology for the sake of all of that scenery. I really could. So, like, Scotland's the only place I've ever seen dolphins in person. So, whilst that dries, I'm going to move on to, like, he's got a good bit of chain across his neck. For that, I'm going to go in with Brass Scorpion. And then I'll do another coat of silver just to make sure that silver's fully coated before I go in with Plaguebearer Flesh. Just because I don't want to, again, have any splotchiness, because it will show when I apply the contrast paint. Ever since I got Brass Scorpion out the other day, I've kind of had it continuously out. And like, it's one of those paints where I put it away for a while, and then I get it out and I remember how much I like it. And I'll use it on most things, and all of a sudden I'll go, okay, I'm done with that now. Forget about it for another 2 or 3 months, and then go, why did I do this? Why did I put this away again? And I'm also going to apply that to his axe as well. Yeah, we couldn't, like, our plan is obviously whilst I'm off on maternity leave, we do plan on trying to go to as many places as possible in our free time. One, to kind of, you know, embrace the fact that I've got all this time off, because I'm not going to get it again unless, like, obviously, even when we have another kid, that'll be the next time I get this kind of time off. And even then, that's not going to be for, like, another couple of years. But, you know, it's one of those opportunities where whilst I've got the time, we might as well use it. But yeah, our plan is to kind of go around the UK and do like little stops here and there, stay overnight in certain places. We've already said to Arch, like, if we are, you know, heading up north, heading up that way, then we'd happily do like a little meet up, play some games with him. So, of course, if anybody else is interested in that, and obviously they're from that area, then we'd love to do that as well. But yeah, it's just a good opportunity for us to kind of embrace the time, because this is time we're never going to get back any other time. So we're going to enjoy little man's first year of life, spending as much time as physically possible with him and experiencing that together. Where is Arch roughly speaking? Good question, well asked. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember. I want to say somewhere around Glasgow, but I might be incorrect there. But I do want to say somewhere around Glasgow. Also depends on which side of the country you're on as to which way you'd be coming up. We're in the Midlands, so we are right in the middle. So we are quite fortunate in that sense. We're on the east side. But yeah, we've got like a bunch of local sites as such in the UK of stuff that, you know, like hidden gems in the UK. One of those videos came up the other day and I was looking at it going, this is all places I've wanted to go and never went. And we were like, well, add it to the list. We'll see if we can make a trip there during the next year whilst we've got more time off. This is still Brass Scorpion, by the way. Oh, so you're closest to Warhammer World then. We're very close to Warhammer World. It's not that far from us at all. So we go quite frequently to Warhammer World. We used to go there at least like once a month. Used to. Now we've like found our store. Because before that was kind of our only interaction. We didn't have a local store to go to. So we would go there to kind of socialise and hang out with other people who are of Warhammer World. My bestie lives like 30 minutes from it, not far at all. I have family near Derby. Well, again, if you're coming up this way at any point, we'd be happy to meet you on this side as well. Because I know, again, Arch was saying he's hoping to do a little trip to Warhammer World this year. So yeah, if anybody is doing any trips this year to this part of the country, then let us know. We'd happily do like a little meet-up. And there is a Warhammer store too in her hometown. That's awesome. Like, I think we don't have one in our actual town. Our closest one, we have to kind of drive to the next kind of bit over. But it's not that too far of a drive for us. For us, I mean Mr. Nerd, because I don't drive, he does. It's all for him, really. I want to head down around summertime. It might be my only chance to acquire an Aldari Titan now that the FW website is no more. Well, if that does happen, let us know, and we'd very happily meet up with you. Like I said, we are going to be off anyway. Yeah, my closest is 20-25 minutes away. Yeah, that's roughly it for us as well, about 20-25 minutes. So not too bad at all. But we'll do, absolutely. But our plan is very much, now that we have kind of started learning the basics of Kill Team, because normally we were going in every other Friday to do Warcry, and now we're going to be going in roughly every other Friday to do Kill Team. So that's what we tend to do. We tend to, and it's tiny. Ours is quite small as well. Like, it's quite a quaint little store. Luckily, the staff are incredible. They're so nice, and if you want anything ordered in, we can just do it and have it sent there. And obviously, it just gives us an opportunity to then go into our... Because luckily, the actual town that we go into for our store is lovely. It's really, really lovely. It's one of my favourite places. So we'll go there a couple times a month, normally get some lunch, go into the store, play some games, and collect any orders we've got as well. So it gives us an opportunity to kind of go in and just chill out a little bit, and also talk with sometimes the same people, so we get to see familiar faces. And then you get the ones where it's something completely new every now and then. My local Warhammer store is rather large. That's very, very fortunate. Like, I don't think I know very many Warhammer stores that are very large. Like, I used to have one in the town where I'm originally from, and that one wasn't very big. There's like 2 local stores as such around us, and obviously then Warhammer World as well. So it's kind of a one store, Warhammer World, and then another store. So it's like Warhammer World is in the middle of these 3 places. So if we are looking to actually acquire something physically in person, which, for example, perfect example of that was for the Kill Team Dead Silence. We originally asked our local store if they could put one aside for us. They said absolutely. They then let us know that they weren't going to get any. So we were like, right, roger that. We need to go to Warhammer World then. So we went to Warhammer World, where we were luckily able to acquire one there. But if not, we were going to go to the other store and see if they had them. But luckily, we only had to go as far as Warhammer World to get the Dead Silence Kill Team set. And even then, we kind of very luckily got our hands on one. Very, very luckily. Because when we went in, they had, obviously, they were all behind the counter. And we're like, can we by chance purchase one of those? And they're like, yep, once everybody who's already purchased them has. And we were like, oh, there's going to be nothing left. But luckily there was. The local manager has a lot on display, like a table for the mini of the month, a table for Discover Paints, a table to discover paints, a table to discover the games, a table for the Kill Team. That's a massive store. Like, ours has, I think, 2 tables, and one's for painting and one's for Kill Team / Warcry / Age of Sigmar / whatever's being painted or whatever's going on that day. Because we can ring ahead with our store and just say we want to come in and we want to learn how to play this game. And they kind of just go, right, well, we have someone on this day coming in. And we can then go in and obviously learn with somebody else or play with somebody else. So they have like set days for certain things. And then if you're obviously wanting to learn, we just let them know ahead of time. And they've actually just recently made some new hires. So now it's not just one gent running the whole thing. He has actually finally got some help, bless him. So now that he's got that going on, there's a lot more people who are able to come and, help out in regards to learning new things. So it's really, really good in that way. That's also, I'm not going to lie, but I didn't think there would be many of the Netherlands outside of Amsterdam. Well, next time I'll go, I'll take a picture. If Phil / Rutger, the employee, will let me, I can send it to you. to be honest, like having a store where there's more than 2 tables for me is like, wow, that's massive. But obviously, because of the area we live in, there's obviously quite a few stores. Obviously, all being within quite close proximity to Warhammer World. So, obviously, there's a lot of audience based around here. So, of course, for the hobby, it's quite a easy thing to find a store relatively locally. Yeah, he went all out on the spacing in the store. It's so easy to move around in it. Same, my local is a one-man store. He's got a table and a small painting area, but there's not much room outside of that and the stock. We actually went into ours the other day and they'd actually had a little bit of a move around. It looks amazing because it's one of those things where because the store is so small, we're really familiar with like the layout. And I went in and I was like, oh, everything has changed. Everything looks different. Luckily in a very good way, and they've really utilised the space. And now they have like an entire section. They already had a section dedicated to the Black Library, but it was quite small and like tucked away in a corner. And now it's more central in the store, so it's a lot easier to actually pick up books if you wanted to from that store. Because before, almost every book we've purchased has been direct from Warhammer World when we've gone, because they have quite a large selection of books, understandably. They have like an entire wall when you go upstairs. Just a dark library. And then you have obviously the tournament area in the middle. We went on like a random weekday a few months back and we were just kind of like, what do we, like, why is it so quiet? Like, we're never used to going on a day that's quiet, because we almost always used to go on like, we'd have to go on the days that I was obviously outside of work. And obviously I only had limited days before maternity leave. And unfortunately, well, fortunately and also unfortunately, they almost just seemed to be like the busiest days for Warhammer World, which is great for them. But it just meant that when you walked in, you couldn't really move around much because everything was so crowded. So that's silver dry. I think, what colour do I do for his cloth underneath? What colour should I use? He's got like a little bit of a cloth here underneath his chainmail. And I'm just trying to decide whether or not I want to do like a purpley colour for that, potentially. But for now, I will go in with Flayed One Flesh. And I will do his a base coat for the innards and stuff. Such a disgusting word. But for his intestines and stuff that are sticking out. So I'll go in with that. In fact, I might not go in with that at all. I might go in with Bugman's Glow. Just because then it's kind of that pinky tone. And then when I add the purples and the Carabao Crimson over the top, it will look more fleshy toned. Yeah, so I'll go in with Bugman's Glow instead. We're having a move around of our setup soon, so at the moment we're kind of in like our dining area, but we want to kind of move our computer desks into the dining area and then our table where we do our painting into like the living area, because we have like an open plan space, because then we can kind of be close to everything. So if all of a sudden in a few, weeks time, the setup looks very different, it's just going to be a completely different room. I think it's quite common for the stores to be one-man stores now. Like 1 or 2 man stores, it seems to be, is like the max. I don't tend to find that many stores where it's much more than that. Yeah, I think that was a much better option for the intestines. Now I will go back in with that flayed one flesh, the one I decanted earlier, and I will use it on the horn bone thing sticking out of his head. So it's not wasted, I will be using it then. Yeah, it's usually a one-man store with a relief worker or a 0 hours worker who can cover holidays / illness, etc. Yeah, that's basically what our store was before. And then when our manager at the old store was telling us he was hiring, the 0 hour contract guy became actually contracted for hours. And they hired an additional person who was awesome. They're all really, really lovely, all 3 of them. So it's a 3-man store now. But obviously, everyone kind of is entitled to their holiday. And unfortunately, when people get sick, it can be quite devastating, because if they can't find that relief worker, or that a relief worker is not available, then the stores a lot of the time get shut for the day, which is not great for business. Or the person who's sick just decides to, you know, toughen it out and come in, and then they end up worse for wear. So it's nice for them to finally have enough people that if one person goes off sick, there's another. And there is always then one extra person if something happens and that relief worker is then not available. Our store actually used to shut on certain days because, you know, like with a one-man store, he's still entitled to his days off and having some time off during the week. And now, because he has relief, he doesn't need to. So the store is open more or less most days, and it just shuts occasionally for like an hour or so for lunch, and that's about it. I think what we'll do today is we will, because I've got about 20 minutes or so before I wrap up the stream. I knew a guy who did that 0 hour contract, got a lot of stuff through him half off, but he no longer works for Games Workshop. We were talking about it the other day because it's our store's anniversary on Friday, I think. Oh, it's next month, sorry. And we have to spend £250 or something like that, or £200 to get all of the stuff. And she was saying like she has to now spend obviously £400 because she gets 50% off through Guild Ball, so she's still only spending, you know, like the same as everyone else, but in reality, but she has to actually put in £400 worth of stuff to be able to get the discount. So, ooh, yes, anniversary minis, we've got those coming very, very soon. But I think what we'll do for this figure today is we will do his contrast paint, and I will pick a colour for his little tiny bit of, like, tiny kilt thing here, loincloth thing he's got going on, which I think I'm going to do a purple colour, I think. I just don't know which purple. I might do Shyish. No. I might do... Which colour? I had it out. Where did I put you? There you are. Slanesh Grey. So Slanesh Grey, but technically it's purple. I got that metal dice and cup holder last year. We got quite a few things from our previous store's anniversary. So we're going to go in with some Slanesh grey, I think, which is obviously, technically it's a grey, but it is a purple colour. And I'm going to use that for his little loinclothy thing. And then when I go in with Druchii Violet later, I will then cover it with that and make it more purple. Because it's obviously a very light purple grey shade. No, the dice cup, not the cup holder. I know what you meant. The last anniversary thing we got, or the last time we got anything, was we got the pictures, and we got a dice bag, and can't remember. Sorry, yawning. Can't remember what else we got. A few things though. But our plan is to get that money up to spend it, which is not really that hard, but to spend it, we are going to buy some kill team stuff. So we'll be getting a fair bit of 40k stuff. So if there are any kill teams specifically that anyone wants to see, let us know, because at the moment we don't really have a preference. Well, I don't really have a preference. And since I'm going to be doing the painting of them, if there's anything specifically that anyone wants to see painted and then played, because obviously we're not just going to get these guys, like these kill teams, to paint them. We are going to play them as well. There we go. Night Lord's one. Okie dokie. But yeah, we plan on getting some stuff from that, and if it's available to us and obviously we can purchase it, then we will. And of course there's also now that dreadnought. There we go. I tend to find the purples look quite good with any of the Nurgle stuff, so I quite enjoy using purples. The silver is now dry, so I'm going to go in with Plague Bearer's Flesh. Oh yes, the Golden Dreadnought is just cool. He really is. That was on the, obviously, what's coming this year thing yesterday. The preview. So again, we're going in with Plague Bearer Flesh, and I'm going to use the contrast paint over the silver to make a green metallic. But yeah, if there's anything, like I think our store's anniversary is the 28th of February. So I'm really trying to not buy more stuff to the new edition launch later in the year, but I need to take my brother to the nerd shop next weekend and need a couple of paints. It's never just paints. I know that feeling. Like when we went in the other day to do Kill Team, Mr. Nerd was kind of like, do we need anything? It's like, no, we don't need anything. We want stuff. There's a difference. We don't need anything. So we have to get that idea out of our head of needing anything, because we don't need it. We just want it. in our case, because we've got like a million paints, the only time we actually need paints, then I kind of expect a lot more to be spent. But when we're going in just to play a game, I'm like, no, we can resist. We're here to, we've come for a purpose still. We've still served our purpose. The Auric Big Pig has been calling me since it was announced. Went in for a free mini, came out with 5 paints and a box of Daemonettes. That sounds about right. Went in for a free thing and coming out feeling like you've been robbed. Such is the way. I am quite happy that majority of Dark Water is obviously the villain/evil side, because it just gives me an excuse to paint more Nurgle. I really do love painting Nurgle. I just love being able to use contrast paints over metallics, specifically like green. Like green's one of my favourite colours, so anything where I can use all of the green shades makes me quite happy. I've also just realised I painted one battle axe and didn't paint the other. That is where my brain is truly broken. I'll paint that one as well before I end the stream today. Essentially, this one's going to be left like base painted today, and then tomorrow we'll come in and do the highlights, and we'll go from there. And we'll probably do another plague blight thingamabob again. We'll do Bob's Brothers tomorrow, or at least one of his brothers tomorrow. Depends on how long highlighting takes. But yeah, we'll get them fully base painted, and then tomorrow will literally be all about the finer detail. There we go. That's that one done. So I'll get some more Brass Scorpion and quickly paint his other axe. Quickly close my Plague Bearer's Flesh, because knowing my luck, I will knock it everywhere. I've done that one too many times. And there we go. That is the entire figure base painted. Let's go do another quick coat of pallid witch flesh just over the bone in his head again. There we go. So now the whole figure has had a base paint. Apologies if you can hear my neighbours, they seem to be having a lot of fun. But this is what he looks like. This is what Bob is looking like today. Pretty cool, pretty happy with him. So tomorrow, and that's tomorrow's video rendering, fantastic. You can go play some of your game now like you wanted to. So tomorrow is going to be about shading and highlighting this bad boy. Shading is going to consist obviously a lot of greys and greens and purples and reds. That looks awesome. I really like the armor trick. This has honestly become my favourite thing because I just loved... I was looking for any kind of metallic that wasn't just, you know, your basic grey, like silver or gold. And I started doing a contrast video. It didn't end up doing it in the end. I didn't end up posting it just because I wasn't 100% happy with the content. But it did give me some inspiration. And yeah, this would look even better if this could look really good as well if you had a really light metallic underneath. Because lead belcher is not the lightest of silvers. So obviously the lighter the metallic underneath, the more the colour's obviously going to pick up and be a bit more pigmented. Contrasts are great with metallics, exactly. So this is mostly what I've used metallics for, is just for, not metallics, contrast for, since kind of experimenting with them is just for going over metallics. But I want to do more of that this year and actually want to do an entire figure just using contrast paints. That is one of my aims for this year. But yeah, thank you. Ooh, I wonder how it would look with like a chrome metallic. Ooh. I'm making a note of this, Grey. Be added to my list of things to look at. Because we've got a couple of chrome metallics, very shiny. That's on my list of things to experiment with. But that's it. We'll wrap it up for today. I'll quickly show you guys our figure that we painted first or finished off now that he is dry. So that is him. Try and get as close as I can. All finished now. Really do like the Blood for the Blood God effect. Just the blood pooling underneath the stone. This gives me an idea. Pink colours over gold or silver. Over gold would look stunning. And over silver would look really, really good as well. But I think pink over gold especially would look amazing. Because I've got quite a few contrast paints that could work very, very well with. You're giving me ideas. But yeah, that's our first fellow. I have a suggestion for something you should try to see how you feel about it. I'll drop you a DM and I promise I'm not shining my own content. Absolutely. Give me ideas, Gray. I'm more than happy to try new stuff. Like this is obviously something else we can paint on stream, but I'm more than happy to add stuff. Like I had it before where we finished off painting our Angels of Death, which is our Ultramarines from the Kill Team set, and a guy mentioned he wanted to see what they look like with battle damage after we finished them all, and I was like, okay. So I did an entire stream just dedicated to battle damage. So if you have more stuff you'd like to see, let me know, I'm happy to do it. So that is Bob the Blight Templar, that's number 1 of 3. as well. So he is base painted. Tomorrow we will shade and highlight, and we'll paint one of his brothers. So we need some other names for Bob and his brothers, because they can't all be called Bob. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining the stream today. If you guys have been just loitering in the background and not joining the comments, absolutely fine. Thank you so much for joining us anyway. But please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button, because we really, really appreciate it. It pleases the algorithm gods, and it lets us know that we're obviously making some good content that people are actually enjoying. So anyway, that will be it from us for tonight. We will see you guys tomorrow around the same time, about 6:30. So if any of you guys are free to join us again tomorrow, then we'd love to have you. So that's Grey, Signed, Summit, and obviously we also had Mr. Nerd at one point here as well. So thank you everybody who has joined us today, and we'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow. So that'll be it for tonight, guys. Take care, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.